What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports here to give you the edge for this NBA 111 slate on DraftKings. Cannot wait to break it down. It's been a long time. And if you guys haven't watched my video from yesterday, I basically pour out my heart for you guys. I tell you guys about how we got to this point. I tell you about my new setup if you guys haven't noticed it already. And this brand new camera, which obviously reveals a little bit too much. I don't like my face now. I'm going to probably have to invest in some makeup, that's for sure. I mean, I have some blemishes here. And I'm just ugly. So that and I'm coming off of COVID symptoms. So if you guys know what COVID's like, drinking gallons of water a day and obviously trying to still recover from that. A lot of medicine, my voice is nasally, so a lot of stuff happened, a lot of moving parts and that, and I still don't really know what to do with my setup. Like, I don't know how to communicate to you guys, the best way to do this NBA content, NFL content. I'm still messing with it. So honestly, if you guys have any suggestions, go ahead and comment them in the chat below, the YouTube chat. I'm open for suggestions because honestly, obviously this entire channel is for you guys. You guys absorb the content, not me. I just provide it. So what's the best way to communicate that content to you guys? Just let me know in the YouTube comment section below. I'll show you what I have now. I want to go for clean. Like, I want my setup to be clean. I want the background to look clean. I want it to be very straightforward, very simple. So let's switch over. And this is what I have. So if you guys think back to our last setup, I put Fantasy Cruncher as my screen. I had a little webcam in the bottom with my green screen and all that good stuff. And this is how I recorded. So let me know if you guys like this setup, if you guys want me to change it. Again, I just have a little box without the webcam border on it. Very basic, but like I said, I want clean. I want you guys to see the content that I'm posting. I want you guys to understand what I'm talking about and all that good stuff. So, but let's go ahead and dive right into the slate. Before we jump into the slate, I just want to go over our website. If you guys haven't stayed in the loop, obviously haven't posted for a couple weeks. So we are still posting all of our premium content on dgfantasy.com. This is what it looks like every single slate. This is last night's slate. This is the format. Every single night we post our favorite cash plays. If you guys click on the cash options, it gives you a player pool of all of our favorite cash plays. These are the highest owned players and what should propel you in double up contests. We also give you some of our favorite GBP plays along with mine and TJ's. Gives you our favorite plays, just a little player pool here. And then we also give our favorite cores. So if you guys click on our favorite core plays, TJ and my core plays, you guys can combine with our favorite GBP plays. And it gives you everything under the sun that you guys need to know about any given slate. So this is updated every day around 10 a.m. And today's content will be updated on the site. And if you guys don't know already, we are partnered with Fantasy Cruncher, one of the best, literally the best optimizer in the market, in the entire industry. Fantasy Cruncher, you get a $20 voucher if you sign up for our $30 package. What that means is when you sign up, you get an automatic credit to any Fantasy Cruncher product. So if you link your account with Fantasy Cruncher, and we have a tutorial on our website on how to do that, you have a $20 voucher every single month. You can sign up for the FC Lite version, which is $20 for the NBA package only. You can crunch 20 lineups every single time, and you guys get that product for free. So you get a free optimizer if you head over for our $30 package. Sign up for it. You get a $20 voucher for that FC Lite package, and then it's free for Fantasy Cruncher. So you guys get to test out our product as well as Fantasy Cruncher, and all that is on our membership link on our website. So that, and let's go ahead and give a quick shout out to PrizePicks, another partner. PrizePicks is a fantasy app where you simply hit the over or under of any certain fantasy point projection or player prop. I'll be giving away 2 free PrizePick entries here on the slate throughout the entire video here. Go ahead and enter code using DGF for 100% matchup to $100. If you guys hate the app, you can never play it again, or you never have to play it again. But you guys get a free $100 deposited into your account just for watching this video. So I do highly recommend it. Go ahead and enter code using DGF on sign up when you guys download that app. And again, that app name is PrizePicks. Now let's go ahead and jump into this slate. We have an interesting slate. Guys, they throw me into the fire the very first slate back. There's really not too much going on. Like, it looks like there is because there's a lot of colors here, a lot of red, a lot of gray, questionable tags, but there really isn't. You know, we're used to all of this COVID news affecting all these teams, but there really isn't slate-breaking injury news as of right now that impacts the slate as a whole. So I won't bore you guys to death. I won't read the entire injury report, which you guys are used to seeing me do here on these videos. That being said, Phoenix does have DeAndre Ayton back. A lot of these bench players are out. With the Bulls, there's still Alex Caruso out, but that's been a thing for a while. Same thing with the Clippers here with Paul George. That's been a thing for a while. So the only really true injury news that's impacting these salaries right now is from Golden State, and that's with Draymond Green. Him being out obviously does impact some of these guys, and also Otto Porter's questionable. Same thing with Gary Payton. If we scroll up to Toronto, Gary Trent is questionable as of right now, and that will impact the slate if he is ruled out because he obviously does play a lot of minutes. So let's go ahead here and start with the very first game. With the very first game here, we do have Darius Bazley. $3,800 is probably going to be my favorite value play here from this roster. 25 projected minutes, and he is projected right now 21 points. So the $3,800 price tag, I don't mind him as a punt option. He obviously plays in that starter rotation. Definitely don't mind him. He's probably not going to carry the highest ownership because this team does suck, and they're only projected to score 104 points here versus the Washington Wizards, and they are 9-point underdogs. So I don't expect him to have a tremendous amount of ownership, but I do consider him a GPP punt play, and I definitely do consider him viable since he is projected to play starter minutes there at 25 minutes. Lou Dort is another guy I do have a lot of interest in here. Always just a safe play at $5,200, that mid-range value. On the slate where we do lack a lot of obvious plays, I do think Lou Dort does provide a decent amount of minute upside there with 32 minutes. He's projected right now for 26.88 points, and as long as he hits that 5 times threshold, he's a decent play. So he is hitting that, and at a $5,200 price tag, definitely don't mind him as a safer option for that mid-range. Another guy that we can throw into the conversation is going to be Josh Giddey at $6,900. That price tag is a little bit too high for my liking, but he does average 1.07 fantasy points per minute, which is actually the highest on the team, even more so than SGA. But of course, SGA is back, so definitely more of a GPP play because those two do affect each other's usage. They obviously are the primary scorers for that roster. Switching over to the Washington Wizards, really not too much interest. We have to address the elephant in the room here. That is Kyle Kuzma, $8,400. That is insane to say out loud. But obviously, if you guys are box score watching, you know how well he's actually been doing. He's been hitting value consistently for the past 5 out of 6 slates, 6 out of 7 slates. So yeah, if you're a believer in hot streaks and you're a believer that this game does stay competitive, then yeah, Kyle Kuzma is a good play. But all of us DFS players, all of us DFS content creators are believing in a game of regression where he comes back down to earth. $8,400 should come back down. I think that this is his game. He's only projected right now 34.65 points, and he's due to come back down to earth, guys. That's the reality of the situation here. I do hope that he continues to play out of his mind because Kyle Kuzma has been disrespected by the league. He's been released by the Lakers, obviously, and they just don't show him any respect anymore. So Kyle Kuzma is a rebounding machine. 22 rebounds last game, I think, was a career high. I don't think he gets 22 rebounds in this contest. I don't think that ever happens again because Kyle Kuzma isn't known for his rebounding. It's known for doing it all, not just going out there and being Andre Drummond. So I don't really have any interest in this entire team here. Montrezl Harrell at $4,700 projected right now for 22 minutes is probably my favorite play on this roster because historically Montrezl Harrell is a very good fantasy point per minute player, averaging 1.25 fantasy points per minute here to start this season. Projected 22 minutes is the projected best value here from this roster. Right now we have him at a 5.29 point per dollar value, but just GPP play, in my opinion. Switching over to the Phoenix Suns here. We do have a couple good plays, and you guys would think that this team would be very, very good in terms of value because of the injury report here. Look at all these injuries. We have Jackson, Cameron Johnson, Kaminsky, Nader, Saric, Wainwright, all affecting these guys' minutes. So all the safety nets are gone for the Phoenix Suns. So taking a look here at Jay Crowder, $3,900 at 31 projected minutes. He is in that starter rotation. He's going to be playing a decent amount of minutes. I know it's not the sexiest pick because Jay Crowder isn't historically known for his fantasy point per minute output, but you know, it is what it is on the slate that lacks extremely good value. I think he is a decent value play here, projected again for 22.32 points and a 5.72 point per dollar value. So he's probably one of my favorite options here in terms of overall value on the slate. And I do think he carries a decent amount of ownership. Looking at DeAndre Ayton as next here, all these superstars are back, talking about Booker, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton. So those 3 players do eat into each other's usage. So of those 3 players, I do prefer DeAndre Ayton because from the center position, he's probably least likely to put up an extreme amount of shots. That usage doesn't affect him as much. He's going to be relying on rebounds a lot more. He is going to be more of a GPP play. I do think that there are some other options here on the slate that do take consideration over him. So $7,200, definitely don't mind him for a GPP option. Decent matchup there versus Siakam. Again, just a decent option. The rest of these guys kind of fall by the wayside, like Devin Booker, $8,600 with all three of these superstars back. Really doesn't show much to appeal to me. And then Chris Paul at $7,700. These guys are just okay plays in my opinion. Yes, they could always break the slate because they are superstars, but they just don't stand out from a fantasy point per minute perspective. Switching over to the Toronto Raptors gets to my very first prize pick entry here on this slate. So right now I'm hitting the over here on Anunoby, 17.5 points, and that's because right now we are pinning the injury news here on Gary Trent. So I do believe this is the lowest line that you will get on Anunoby at 17.5. That will only go up assuming that Gary Trent is out. Now let's say Gary Trent does play. That projection at 17.5 isn't too bad. He's hit that the past 3 out of 5 contests. This game is supposed to be competitive, so they will need Anunoby to score. And he's projected right now 36 minutes, so I do like him on prize picks. Hit that over of 17.5 points, and I also do like him from a DK perspective. $6,300 is just a good price tag for a guy projected that many minutes. I get that everybody is back on this roster, everybody that's noteworthy. But guys, 36 minutes, that is a crazy amount of minutes just in general, and he is averaging close to a fantasy point per minute when all these guys are back. So really do like the value there. Then Gary Trent, if he does play, I know he's just a shooter, but right now projected 34 minutes, projected to play in that starting rotation. As long as he gets hot, man, that guy does cover his price tag very, very easily. He's still shooting a decent clip here when these guys are all playing together. He shot 12, 17, 16 times the past 3 games. And again, all these guys have been back for them. So definitely don't mind him from a minute perspective. Just the Toronto Raptors in general have a very tight rotation. And when you see these price tags come down on some of these guys like Anunoby, Trent, and Barnes, these guys become very appealing from a fantasy point per minute perspective. 6.6K price tag here for Scotty Barnes, so I definitely don't mind him, but I do prefer Anunoby, Gary Trent, and then Scotty Barnes in that order. Yes, we have to talk about Van Vliet and Siakam. However, their price tags are a little bit too high for my liking. They're only projected 2 more minutes than these other 3 guys that I've already talked about, but they do average more fantasy points per minute, but I don't think that those 9K price tags are definitely viable, especially going against Phoenix, who historically is a good defensive team. Now, keep in mind, this game is supposed to be competitive. It is the second highest over-under here on the slate. So both teams have their full rosters back for the most part and should be a competitive game. So I do expect these guys to play full starter minutes. Switching over to a not so competitive game, we have the Detroit Pistons versus Chicago Bulls, where they are 14-point underdogs as of right now. Trey Lyles at $4,900, projected 27 minutes. So probably my favorite overall play from this roster, assuming this game does stay close and he does play 27 minutes. I do love Trey Lyles because he's also power forward eligible, which is great for roster construction. I do think he's going to carry a decent amount of ownership. He's been playing pretty decently once he's seen the floor. So he's played 28 and 29 minutes the past 2 games. Right now he's projected 27, and he's hit 42 and 31 points the past 2 games. So if history repeats itself, then he should have yet another good game. He is power forward eligible. Love that. You can slide him into that forward position down low. You can slide him up into the power forward position. So a lot of flexibility there with Trey Lyles. Switching over to the Chicago Bulls. Not too much to be said for this roster. Really don't have too much interest overall. However, Vucevic should be in the smash spot because we know that bigs just decimate these Detroit bigs. And right now he's in a smash spot at a 9K price tag. I don't think this is where you go for center. I don't think he's going to be a cash lock per se. I don't think he's going to be very high owned because, again, the spread could definitely kill his play time into the 4th quarter. But I do think if these guys are going to blow these guys out, it's going to be because of Vucevic. And at a 9K price tag, 34 minutes, I definitely do think he has a decent amount of upside. If these guys can't keep it within 12 points or so, then yeah, Vucevic should break the slate wide open. Do love him for GBP. And honestly, for smaller GBPs, I do like his upside there as well. Lonzo Ball doesn't have a safety net, doesn't have Caruso eating into his minutes. So 35 projection in terms of minutes right now for Lonzo Ball, averaging 0.96 fantasy points per minute here on the season. $6,800. Yeah, it's a little bit overvalued to an extent, but assuming this game does stay competitive, I could see somebody like Lonzo Ball scoring a good amount of points there to break the slate wide open. Zach LaVine, $9,400, doesn't make too much sense. And then I would prefer DeRozan. I think he's a decent GPP option, but only big GPPs. If they're going to blow these guys out, it's going to be through DeRozan, it's going to be through Vucevic, and it's going to be through Zach LaVine. Water break here, all right? So again, guys, trying to get through a gallon of water a day, and I've been talking nonstop for the past 10 minutes, so full transparency, guys, okay? Life of a content creator is not so easy. All right. Switching over to the Golden State Warriors. And this should be an intriguing matchup just overall because Golden State's a good team. Same thing with the Memphis Grizzlies, and they both have a pretty full roster. Now that we see Klay Thompson back, this spread is only a 1-point spread in the favor of the Golden State Warriors. Right now, we are pinning that injury news on Otto Porter Jr. So if he is ruled out, then yeah, a lot of these backup minutes should come into play. Guys like JTA should get bigger run. Guys like B. Alicia right now projected only 17 minutes. And then Iggy coming off the bench. So all these guys should play a little bit more minutes if Otto Porter is rolled out. That being said, if he does play, he's projected to play 27 minutes. He's basically the exact same play as Trey Lyles. Obviously productive when he does play. Keep in mind, if he is playing with the starters like Steph Curry, like Klay Thompson, then yeah, he probably shouldn't get too many attempts up. But he does make for a decent last piece, $4,900, especially on the slate where you are extremely lacking value. So Otto Porter, JTA is only intriguing if Otto Porter is out. And then the rest of these guys really fall by the wayside. Steph Curry, 10.7K. Obviously, Klay Thompson shooting 18 times last game is going to eat into his usage. That is crazy. He had a 41.6% usage when he was playing. He only played 20 minutes, so we do expect him to play 20 to 25 minutes yet again. And if this game does remain competitive, then you should see some stretch there in the fourth quarter. But Klay Thompson, as long as he's there, then Steph Curry should not be seeing as many attempts. He did shoot the ball 21 times, so did shoot a decent amount. It's all Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, which takes me off of pretty much everybody else. Like Andrew Wiggins should be irrelevant going forward. He was last game, played 34 minutes and only scored 16 points. The rest of this roster, guys, it's going to be Steph Curry, it's going to be Klay Thompson, it's going to be Draymond Green shooting the ball just like the old Golden State Warriors that we're used to seeing. So Otto Porter, not as intriguing as he was in the past. Switching over to the Memphis Grizzlies, this is where I start to love some stud potential because guess what? Ja Morant is going to have a game if they're going to remain competitive here against the Golden State Warriors with Klay Thompson back. So Ja Morant, probably one of my favorite studs on the entire slate, with maybe the exception of Jokic, which we will talk about here in a little bit. But I do think you can get Ja Morant and Jokic into a lineup because Ja Morant's only $8,900, which again is why I love him so much. Right now, he's only projected 32 minutes, but if this does remain competitive, I could easily see him playing 35 plus minutes because they will need all of Ja Morant, and Dillon Brooks is out for what it's worth. So, slight usage bump to Ja Morant, $8,900, playing against the Golden State Warriors, only projected to score 109 points, but I do believe in Ja Morant to play a good amount of run here. That being said, let's go ahead and hit the over of Ja Morant, 5.5 rebounds. Right now, we have a very thin board here for prize picks, but he's hit that over the past 3 out of 5 games, and the Golden State Warriors are playing small ball tonight. So without Wiseman, without Draymond Green, they're going to need other people to rebound the ball, and I do think Ja Morant does need to be aggressive here in this game. So I do like the over here of 5.5 rebounds of Ja Morant. Again, favorite 2 plays. OG Anunoby, 17.5 points, hit the over on that, and Ja Morant hit 5.5 rebounds over. My 2 favorite entries, and they're code using DGF for 100% matchup to $100 on prize picks. The rest of these guys don't really have too much interest in here. Desmond Bane, 6.5K. I do like the minute upside there with him. Right now, only projected 30 minutes. That's closer to about 34 to 35 minutes. So I do like him as a last piece, but there's so many good mid-range value plays. I do like the Toronto value from a mid-range perspective more so than Desmond Bane, but definitely don't hate him from a GPP perspective. Switching over to the Minnesota Timberwolves, I really have no interest in any of these guys. Anthony Edwards at $7,900 is probably going to be my favorite option just because that guy does what he wants. He shoots the ball. The usage doesn't really matter when these guys are back, talking about D'Lo and Cat. So at a $7,900 price tag, he did get the price decrease. Definitely don't mind him for GBPs, but again, I'm going to be completely off of these Minnesota Timberwolves, and this is the highest over-under for what it's worth, so I do have a lot more interest here on the other side of the ball with Devontae Graham, Josh Hart, $6,300. This guy's averaging close to a fantasy point per minute when he does play. Projected 35 minutes. He was out last game, so now that he is back and projected 35 minutes, really no injury concern there with Josh Hart. I do like him. 6.3K, yet another mid-range good option, better than Desmond Bane. So he's probably one of my favorite mid-range options here on the slate. Josh Hart, I do consider him cash viable because of this over-under. I do think he's going to carry a decent amount of ownership. Josh Hart, $6,300 is going to be my favorite play here from this roster. Devontae Graham, not so much just because from a fantasy point per minute perspective, he's not as good as Josh Hart, but the minute upside is there as well. Projected 31 minutes. Last but not least, we do have to talk about the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's go ahead and talk about Jokic, 12K. You just don't fade Jokic, right? When he's on the slate and you have the value to get up to him, then you just don't fade him. That's how simple this is. If you guys just look at his box score, this guy has a serious ceiling every single game. And given the matchup versus Zubac, this guy is yet again in another smash spot. Jokic, this is why I say at the center position, I think a lot of people are going to try to force in some of that value, maybe not so obvious value, to try to get to Jokic. 12K, I do think he's going to have a decent amount of ownership. And another guy I do want to talk about here is going to be Monty Morris. 29 minutes, hasn't been doing that bad, but this guy is strictly just a shooter. Obviously, if he does get hot and he shoots well, 3 of 5, 5 of 11, 7 of 13, did shoot 5 of 14, but did get plenty of shots in that last game. He hits value. So Monty Morris, I don't love him for cash, but I do consider him a decent GPP option. And then last but not least, we have to talk about the Clippers. And I do like Zubac himself because guess what? His backup player in Hartenstein is out, so he's guaranteed run. And I do think they're going to need all of Zubac to keep up with Jokic. And honestly, from a value perspective, he's the best overall play on the slate. I get it. The matchup is not good. And obviously foul trouble, if you take that in consideration, then it's going to be a very long night for Zubac. But if he stays on the court, if he does the things he's supposed to do, if he gets the rebounds, if he just contests Jokic, he's going to be heavily involved in this game. And at a $5,100 price tag, I do consider him a decent play as long as he sees 27 plus minutes. So Zubac, my favorite overall play here from this roster, and really no interest whatsoever in the rest of these players, with maybe the exception of Batum, who is projected 29 minutes. There's not a good fantasy point from that player, but I do like the minute upside there at that price tag. So if we take a look here, I did crunch based on my projections, and again, these projections do change throughout the day, and this is assuming Gary Trent plays, but some guys that I would probably lock in as of right now. I love John Morant. I love Zubac, and I love Jokic. I'll probably also lock in Anunoby. Those are my favorite 4 plays on the slate. And again, this lineup will change, guys. Jay Crowder is also my favorite value play on the slate as a whole. But again, you guys can grab access to our projections, access to Fantasy Cruncher. If you head over to our membership page, sign up for a $30 package or $20 package if you have no interest in an optimizer. But Fantasy Cruncher is where it's at. This is how we win money, guys. This is how you stay consistent in DFS. And that will wrap up my video, guys. This is my first video back here with a new setup. Let me know if you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys liked it. Let me know if you want to change some of the formatting. Again, I want clean, if you guys have to consider that. I want straightforward, but this is as straightforward as it gets here, looking at my camera and my ugly self. But that will wrap up my video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this breakdown. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course, smash that like button for all of our future NBA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.